the guy who made this movie is a young guy. You know what I'm saying? He's not an old guy. And I question where his own sort of sensibilities lie when I watch this film, because he wrote it as well. And I'm thinking, like, come on, guy. Are you serious? Now? Are you really, are you kidding me? The Nigerian thing was one of the most shocking things I've seen in a long time. Talk about, like, the absolute basest stereotype. I mean, these guys, they ran the gamut of everything negative. Drugs, guns, black magic, cannibalism, interspecies prostitution. These guys just lumped these guys with every... I'm like, listen, if I'm a guy going in there and watching that, was there a redeeming Nigerian in the movie? Because a lot of people do not know what Nigerians in Nigeria are actually like, who are watching this movie in, like, California or Seattle or Boston or all these other places all around the world. You see that, and you happen to find yourself in an authentic Nigerian environment. What are you going to think? Because some people say that, oh, listen, you know, it's just a movie. It does have an effect. That movie did not have any redeeming Nigerians whatsoever, let alone any redeeming humans that were not white, other than the guy who was his partner, who you hardly even saw. Very problematic, guys. Very problematic. And the thing is that, you see, Peter Jackson, I said the same thing about him when he made Lord of the Rings, but I gave benefit of the doubt because I'm like, it was already in the book. So the fact that the Urukai seem so tribal and so African and so black and so dark with dreadlocks and mangy teeth and whatever, I'm like, you know what, I give you that. The orcs and other, fair enough, you know, maybe that is Tolkien who did that. He described it that way. You just depicted it that way. You come out, you make King Kong. I'm like, guy, we all know what King Kong was alluding to when the movie came out. Why are you doing this now? I mean, what's the point in this era trying to make a movie like that today? I'm like, you know what, I give you benefit. I'm like, you know what, let that slide. Then I hear doing damn bust. I'm like, okay, come on, guy. Then you're presenting this with the content like that and the depictions like that. So a lot of people want to like this movie so much, and I think the movie is great, that they are willing to, or they would rather just wash over that issue and pretend it doesn't exist or it's not a big deal. I'm willing to say this movie is great. The movie was great. I really enjoyed it, and at the same time, say that stuff was wrong, and it's not helpful for any kind of understanding or to kill the xenophobia that people generally have of the Middle East, for example, or Africa, or any of these places that are distant from the US or England or the UK or Western world, where people just feel it's all full of mysticism, black magic, and people who have no idea what humanity really is. This movie doesn't help that. All right? Special effects, I mean, look, special effects were amazing. Very well integrated. I like the fact that it wasn't overused. I like the fact that the acting was very natural and that they tried to employ that whole documentary feel to it. Everything was actually very, very well done. And I think that that's the reason why these issues that I'm bringing up are actually so important, because when a movie is that well constructed and made for what it is, I mean, it's not Shakespeare. It's like an action. I mean, the script wasn't like so stunning. Like, no, it was made very well for what it was. Entertainment, go and have fun at the cinema. But when it's made so effectively, these issues begin to make a difference. I defy anybody to tell me that the depictions of Nigerians in that movie was fair. It was very unfair. It really was. I mean, I could not think of a worse, more barbaric, horrible group of people than I saw them depicted as in that film. I really cannot. And that's sad. It really is very, very sad. Let alone the indigenous South African blacks. Where the hell were they? Don't any of them work in MNU? Why weren't any of them like proper characters? I mean, I saw one guy who was like an MNU soldier. You know, the guy just sitting there laughing and doing whatever. That was just silly. I'm like, the main soldier, look at that main soldier. Look at how much of a role that guy had. I mean, for goodness sake. I mean, this is bloody Africa. This isn't set in Holland or set in USA or England. This is set in Africa. Come on. You know, and look, I know who made the movie. The guy, he is his own imagination, and he's depicted a world based on how he sees the world. And people should always think about that. I said this about Crash. I said this about all these movies that seem to, Last King of Scotland, and all these things that comment on race and comment on Africa and comment on, look at who's doing it, look at who's creating it, and think about the perspective that person is taking based on their own history and where they're coming from. District 9 is a sci-fi fantasy movie that people would say, though, doesn't mean anything because it's not trying to be real. But people are on the same vein are saying, oh, it's so deep because it's leveraging on apartheid and commenting on social issues and racism. I'm like, you can't have it both ways. If you're going to take it that way, then you've got to actually hold it to some standards of how it's actually going through what it's going through. All right? So, guys, in my view, District 9, good movie. Like I said, I give it an 8 out of 10. You know, I mean, the movie was pretty good. 7.5, 8 out of 10, I give it. But all these issues are a big deal, and they're becoming a bigger deal based on the way the world is going today, where people seem to not even care about understanding groups or countries or cultures that they have no connection with. Movies like this do not help. Okay, and that's my word. TALKBACK, where real fans roam, www.talkbackworld.net. You have anything to say on this, you get over there, join the forum, we chat. I'm always there, the Merc, well, trying to always be there, trying to be there as much as I can. You know, any thoughts on District 9 or anything else you do in fandom, get over to the TALKBACK Senate. Bay out, Spielberg in.